Hi, this is Mike Cooperstein with the Colorado Avalanche Information Center, and welcome to your weekly Avalanche Outlook. As you can see from the homepage forecast map, we are going into the weekend with a moderate avalanche danger across the state. Remember, even though the danger is moderate, level 2 of 5, it doesn't mean that conditions are safe. In fact, about 50% of avalanche accidents in Colorado occur at a moderate danger. Forecasters use a moderate danger to point out specific places where you can get into trouble. So looking at the Avalanche Explorer tool, again, you can see that these are the aspects, northwest, north, northeast, and east, where we're seeing most of the avalanche activity occur right now. This weak layer is close enough to the surface to make it easy to impact, but it's also buried deep enough for us to see really large avalanches on this layer, like this one. So this is a remotely triggered avalanche in the Aspen zone a couple days ago, and you can see it broke very wide and is about 2 to 3 feet deep. And the same with this one. This is a crown line of an avalanche that's breaking on this persistent weak layer again, about 2 to 3 feet deep on northerly and easterly facing aspects. Out of the 92 avalanches we recorded in the last 7 days, 45 have been human triggered, and 24 of those were large enough to bury or kill a person. We've unfortunately had 2 fatalities in the last about 10 days. The first one was in the North San Juan zone, just south of the town of Ophir, about 11 miles south of the town of Telluride, in an area called Pilot Knob, where a solo backcountry snowboarder triggered an avalanche and was unfortunately buried and killed. And then on the 19th, so this week, last Saturday, another rider was killed just outside of the Steamboat ski area, outside of Steamboat Springs, in an area called Fish Creek. So unfortunately, that leaves us at 6 avalanche fatalities this season. And it's really important to know that you may not see any signs of instability, such as cracking or collapsing, before you trigger an avalanche. And multiple riders can even ride on a slope before somebody finds a really weak spot and triggers an avalanche. So this is a pretty lucky capture here. You can see there's a lot of ski tracks on this slope, and you can see the rider down there in the middle. And unfortunately, they hit a weaker spot. You can see the slab has triggered its outline there with the cracking. And they triggered a slide in a spot where a lot of people have already ridden. And this is the resulting avalanche. So just because people are riding on slopes doesn't mean that they're totally safe. And you should really be careful in these areas. So again, really large, really wide breaking avalanches in these areas. Many of these, we don't see any signs of instability, such as cracking or collapsing, to warn us of possible danger before these really large avalanches break. So going into the weekend, we have a high pressure system moving in from the west, and we're going to get really high temperatures here coming up. So springtime weather is here in Colorado. Temperatures are going to be warm starting Friday and lasting through about Monday, with daytime high temperatures in the mountains in the 40s and 50s, and in the valleys in the high 50s to low 60s. So as you can see from this map, this is Saturday at noon. Even the mountains have temperatures in the high 40s and low 50s, which is going to cause us some wet snow avalanche problems as we come into the weekend. So there's a chance the avalanche danger will bump to considerable later in the weekend, possibly Sunday, as temperatures warm. So the sun's getting higher in the sky this time of year, and wet snow avalanches are inevitable. So we'll expect to see a loose, wet avalanche problem, probably starting tomorrow in the southern mountains and then moving north throughout the weekend. We're most likely to see those on easterly, southeasterly, south, southwest, and westerly facing aspects. So this problem moves around the compass rose as the sun hits these particular slopes. So in the morning, it'll come up, it'll warm slopes in the east, and the sun will move around to the south and eventually to the west throughout the day. And we'll see this avalanche problem move with the sun. So the other problem that might come onto the problem list are wet slab avalanches. And wet slab avalanches occur when we have water moving through the snowpack. Remember, we have a weak layer buried about 2 to 3 feet deep across a lot of the state. And if free water hits that layer, we might see some of these larger wet slab avalanches. Again, they're going to be most likely near and below tree line on east facing, south facing, and west facing slopes, so around the bottom half of the compass rose. So make sure that you check back to get the current avalanche forecast at colorado.gov/avalanche or on the mobile app. And thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.